Set up to go live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Mrs Stevenson. I serve as the Dean of Student Engagement and Career Development here at Flagler College. We are coming to you live today from our Flagler College Instagram channel, as well as our Flagler College Career Development channel on Instagram, our Career Development Center Facebook page, our Flagler College Student Activities Facebook page, and then our Flagler College YouTube page. So we're trying a couple different things today. But thank you so much for joining in on our second one where we're going to talk about cover letters today. As I say every single time, please don't let me forget about the co-curricular keyword at the end. But you are more than welcome to type in any comments, whether it's here on Instagram or whether it's up on Facebook or at the YouTube channel if you're watching us live from there. I'll definitely be able to see them and pull them here as you'd like. But cover letters, my goodness. Well, I, for one, can't stand a cover letter. I feel like when it comes to cover letters, we have to be just really honest. And, you know, some people, the majority of people, they just have such a hard time writing them and kind of imagining them and what's the purpose of them. And we hear so much of, you know, Are cover letters used? Are they not used? If I'm spending so much time on cover letters, you know, what's the purpose of them? And so for today, we'll definitely take some time to talk about what a cover letter is, maybe how it's used, who uses it. We'll also definitely look at the ins and outs of a cover letter, maybe talk about the pros and cons and what works well and what doesn't work with cover letters. As we talked about with resumes last week, and we talk about so much within career development, is everybody has an opinion about so much. And so one thing that I want you to really think about is that the cover letter, just like your resume, is your document. And in the end, you get to take the feedback from so many different people and make it your own. And then you get to see if it worked or if it didn't work. But a cover letter connects the dots for the reader by showing how your previous experiences relate to the job. I love explaining a cover letter as it's your writing sample. We talked last week with resumes as it's short, sweet, and to the point. There's not full sentences. You're, using the actual number digit. You're not spelling things out as we've been taught. There's no periods on a resume. Whereas now a cover letter is taking the essence and pieces of your resume and putting it into a writing sample. Something I tell our students and alumni all the time is a cover letter should always accompany your resume. I don't care if you are printing out your resume old school style. I want you to print out your cover letter and go ahead and hand it in when you're submitting it. If you are uploading documents to a web portal and they're saying a resume is required, additional documents could be, writing samples or a cover letter, I want you uploading a cover letter. If the instructions say, please email your resume to xyz@gmail.com, I want you to put your cover letter either as an attachment, or you could put it right there in the body of the email, and then you attach your resume. A cover letter will always accompany a resume. Your packet when you're applying to something, first page is that cover letter, second page is your resume, third page is your references. We haven't necessarily talked about references, but know that that's kind of your resume packet when it all comes together. The header that is on the top of your resume, copy and paste that and put it right on top of your cover letter. That's now creating this personalized letterhead. So if they ever do get separated, I'm a visual and tactile person. I like to print stuff out and write notes on it and everything like that. I know that if for some reason they get separated, that they'll always have a home to come back to. Plus, it always has your contact information on it. As with a resume and any other document that you're uploading like this, I want you to save it as a PDF. That way it saves the essence and the receiver receives your cover letter exactly the way that you want them to. I want you to use the same font, Same style, same format, same spacing, same margins. Think about all of that. These are very easy little ways to whittle down an applicant. And the easiest thing to do is to look at the resume and the cover letter, and right off the bat, without reading those words, they're going to look at the way it visually speaks. I can't stress that enough to everybody. So a cover letter, always accompany your resume, and it serves as an introduction to you. And it demonstrates why you're the best candidate. And it's a highlighting list of your accomplishments. Earlier this week, I was in a class presentation, and I was trying to explain to the students that when you're writing a cover letter, we have this tendency to say, I'm writing because I want the job that you are offering, and this is why I'd be great for it. Mold that thought process and make sure that you're thinking about how are you as an applicant going to enhance the position that the employer is hiring for? How are you going to benefit them? What are you bringing to the table to help them along? Because now all of a sudden the reader is seeing, okay, I can see that they've got these different accomplishments. I could absolutely look more on their resume, but now I'm seeing, wow, they could be a fit with me. They could absolutely enhance this project that I'm working on. It's a horrible, very frustrating, sometimes overwhelming change of thought process when it comes to a cover letter. That can be really intimidating. Just as a resume is tough to sometimes write about because you're writing about yourself, a cover letter can be even harder to write because now you're having to write in full sentences. And so when you're writing it and you're thinking about what it should have and what that purpose is, just write. Just write, just get it all out of here like we talked about last week. Get it out of here and just get it onto the paper. Type it all out, and then let's go back and we'll look at all the different pieces that should be there. So a couple things that we want to make sure that we're doing with a cover letter. We're not repeating your resume bullet points. A cover letter is not an entire summary of what was on that resume sheet. Don't use the same cover letter for every single job. Just as that resume morphs and molds to what you're applying to, your cover letter should morph and mold to what you're applying to. I have seen some doozy cover letters, and I love when other people share their cover letters that they've received as hiring managers, because I think it's so much fun to see what we accidentally submit or what's received. But especially if a cover letter is really general and I can see that it's been used for multiple purposes, like, hi, I'm really interested in the position with your company. Well, that tells me that you've just kind of copied and pasted and sent it in. I want you to get specific on the type of position and get specific with the company. Only really caveat with that is if you're a media production major and you are applying to be a production assistant with a variety of different companies, typically a production assistant job description and position in itself is the same, it's just at different companies. And so maybe the core of your cover letter could remain the same because you're highlighting those same accomplishments from your resume, but there's going to be one paragraph that we talk about with your cover letter that I want you to specify for it. Really watch out for those grammar mistakes. It's huge. We don't see them because we're so close to the document. However, those that see it right off the bat for the first time, it's like a blaring little like blinking lights right on it. I love having other people read cover letters. Something that I find helpful with really any written document when we're looking at personal statements or lengthy writing things, I actually read them out loud. It helps me see where I'm possibly getting tripped up. It helps me make sure that my sentences are making sense and that my grammar and punctuation is correct. It also kind of gives me a sense of what the reader is going to get from it. And then a cover letter is 1 page. So we're going to keep it to 1 page, just as we do with your resume. At this point, I just want to remind you all that if you do have any questions, feel free to toss them into the comments on Facebook, YouTube, or right here on Instagram, and I will definitely try to get them. I've also tossed our email address on the bottom there. And so if you do have any questions or you want to go over your cover letter, or if some things that I'm talking about today just aren't making sense, let me know and we can go over it one-on-one with somebody here in our office. A cover letter is a business letter. You will start with that header up on the top that matches your resume. And then we're going to have a date. Then you're going to have contact information For the hiring manager, their job title, their company, and their address of business. This right here is where I get a lot of, but I have no idea who's hiring. I found it on an amazing website and I just want to apply. This is where if you can do a little bit of research and go just a bit of an extra step, your cover letter all of a sudden comes from this part of the pile all the way up here. I love seeing effort on a cover letter, whether it's addressing me personally as a hiring manager, whether it's addressing the hiring committee because you can't find a specific person. I absolutely love to see that. I can see a question here. Does the Career Development Center have a copy of the format for a cover letter online? We do. On our website, flagler.edu/career development, we have a resumes and a cover letter section, and we've got some different examples. I do have a new one that I'm going to need to get up on the website, but what I'll try to do, I won't be able to do it in Instagram here, but perhaps on our Facebook pages, I can put a link to where it is, or maybe put a picture up of a new format that we've got, because it really helps to outline some different things. You can also always email us and let me know, and I can send some different articles to you. As a visual person myself, I love to be able to show different examples. And so if there's any way that we can help you by seeing different formats or best ways to put it in, please absolutely let us know. You're then going to have a dear so-and-so, dear Mrs. Stevenson. I'm actually not a fan myself of dear Tara Stevenson as like that full thing in the beginning, but that's just me. But it is something to consider. Of course, I love to see a specific person's name. Not a fan whatsoever of to whom it may concern. I want you to get that off of there. That's super old school. Plus, we can try to make some sort of effort. I actually don't even mind if we can't find somebody to apply to and to address the letter to, if I even see it to Dear Human Resources, or if you've addressed it to the Director of Human Resources because that name is more visible on the website, or perhaps, you know, somewhere on the posting, because it shows that you went that extra step. All of these little things when it comes to applications, they may seem tedious and super overwhelming, but they just help set you apart from those other applicants that aren't taking that time. A cover letter will typically have about 3 paragraphs. The opening paragraph introduces you to the employer. I want you to relate the specific position title and how you learned about that opportunity and why you are the best candidate for the position based on some qualifications that are mentioned in that job listing. This is where I love to see you list that you are interested in the production assistant company with the ABC production company. And then I think it's kind of cool when I can see that you've done some research about the company or that you've done some research about the position, and you can toss some of those things in there. What are the qualifications? What is that company doing right now? Are they making an impact in the industry? Are they using cutting edge technology? Are they valuing something within the community where they're giving back to the less fortunate? Something that shows that you're not just blindly applying to it. The middle paragraph then, this is where you establish yourself as the strongest candidate. And this is where you're talking about your skills and experiences. You'll use about 2 to 3 examples from your resume that really stand out. This paragraph right here is where I want you to really mold it to what you're applying to. And so if a position is valuing one skill over another, I want you to really talk about why you're, what experiences you have for that skill. If we can't find who to address the cover letter to, do we say Dear Human Resources? I see that as a question that came through. You can, yes, or you could put Dear Human Resources Director or Dear Human Resources Hiring Committee. Let's try to dig a little bit on their website to see if they have, Chief Human Resources Officer or Human Resources Specialist. If you're applying for an internship, it could be, here's that question that we're looking at. Thank you, Lily. It could be that, we're addressing it to an intern supervisor. It could be that we're looking at, marketing coordinator, something to where we can at least show that we have made a bit of that effort. Continuing through, be specific on why some of these qualities and these examples relate to the position and how you fit with what they're looking for. Again, go back to how are you bringing your skill set to better that company and better that hiring manager. It's a bit of a different thing, because what we want to say is your position description has exactly what I'm looking for and I'm going to be the best for it and I really want you to hire me because I love what you have in here. Flip that train of thought, because inevitably when you get to that interview and you get to talk a bit more, then they're going to see your excitement and why you're the best for them. Paragraph 3, this is where you're reinforcing a bit more your earlier assertions that you're the best candidate for it. I do want to stop right here and I want to say, like, I'm hesitant to have and to see in cover letters that you're actually stating that I'm the best candidate for it. Think back to when we're always talking about resumes and that show, don't tell. How can you show you're the best candidate? And then all of a sudden, as somebody's reading it, they're seeing, okay, this is the best candidate. This is where you indicate your follow-up. This is probably the hardest thing that I have seen people struggle with when it comes to writing their cover letters, is the statement at the bottom of, I will follow up with you in 2 weeks. It's an action item that you're placing on yourself. And then I think it's appropriate in about 2 weeks, if you haven't heard anything, to follow up via email and just see where they're at. Of course, if the application and job description specifically states, please do not follow up, please do not call us or email us, then I would take that statement out. Because otherwise, that's another easy way to take you out of the applicant pool. You can also at this point put your contact information, perhaps an email or a phone number. It is going to be the same as your header from your resume up at the top, but again, I don't think it's bad. Sincerely, thank you. That's how we can close it. Again, it's a formal business letter, so let's go with a formal business closure there. I would love to see a signature. I myself have, signed my name on a piece of paper. I scanned it, I cut it out as a little picture, and then I plop it into my different cover letters that I always have it. You could also, I'm sure like with stylist things, and you can go ahead and sign your name. Or you could print it out, sign your name, and then scan it again, and then you send it as a PDF. But I do love seeing a signature. Me personally, again, everybody's got opinions. I'm like half and half on that cursive font where people will type their name in a cursive font on a cover letter. I feel like it just shows that, again, you went that extra step to add your signature in there. And then you'll type your name underneath your signature. Tidbit, best tip that I have ever received, and I actually think I got it back in my own undergrad, was you'll hit sincerely, you'll type that out, comma, press enter 4 times, and then type your name. That right there creates the appropriate space for your signed signature. And then I have seen people press enter a few more times after your name and they write enclosures, which means that you have other items that are included within that cover letter. I think that's a lot of the basics for a cover letter. Let's go ahead and go through some additional more outline pieces. I knew that this workshop could be a bit repetitive, but I also know that cover letters can totally play with our minds because we're just not sure. I will never forget being in a class presentation where I said this, where cover letters are horrible, and the professor, absolutely one of my favorite professors here, he said, are they really that horrible? And I said, when was the last time you wrote a cover letter? And he said, totally fair. It's probably been about 25 years. And I thought, yeah, exactly. And so taking some time to work through the nerves with it, and then all of a sudden you'll get going. But I myself, I can't stand writing my own cover letters, and I love to have other people help me with them. So our basic outline again, first paragraph is your introduction, who you are and what you want, how you heard about the position. Did you find it on their website? Did you find it on a job board from a professional association that they're a part of? Your interest in the position, and a quick summary of why you're the best candidate without saying, I'm the best candidate. Second paragraph is where we're then relating some of your experiences. Look at those responsibilities and skills of past experiences. How do they connect to the job description? And I've got a good example for that on the next area that we're going to talk about. And answer why you're the most qualified person. Third paragraph is where we're going to wrap it up. Highlight your key characteristics and your interest in the position. Thank them for their time. A thank you can go so far, so long. And then provide your contact information. So we could state somewhere, I was the customer service intern for Publix, where I received customer feedback and produced solutions. It's a pretty basic job description. Hopefully we don't see that on our resume, but that could be something that we see in a cover letter. To elevate that in a cover letter by resolving customer feedback complaints, I gained in-depth analytical skills, but more importantly, I learned how to interact calmly and diplomatically with a diverse population of customers. My experience as a customer service intern for Publix provided me the necessary experience to tackle your company's customer and client feedback process. I can't take credit for that statement. That was totally a previous assistant director, but I absolutely love it because they've taken the essence of something from their resume and they've made it sound super fancy and really well written in a cover letter. Some of those words will be from a resume, but they've taken that short, sweet, to the point bullet point on a resume and made it sound extremely eloquent. When I'm looking at cover letters, because a resume doesn't have those full sentences, I'm looking to see how can these cover letters transform into emails for my company. And so this is showing me that if they can write well on a cover letter like that, they could probably write really well thought out emails on behalf of us as an office and an association. So really go back through and think about what are those job requirements, what are the skills, and then what are those experiences that you have. You'll see a lot if you ever do some research into cover letters that a lot of people say they're difficult, but that I don't actually ever read them as a hiring manager. I was looking up a statistic earlier and it said that 26% of recruiters deemed cover letters were not important. And that can be really, that can make us feel pretty bad. Like, why do we spend all this time into it? And I loved the statement that was after this statistic where it said that so few cover letters stand out. And so is that why they're deeming them not as important? And so how is this your opportunity to showcase yourself in a well thought out way? I found a few other last tips that we'll kind of close out with today is looking at cover letters as explain why, not just how. We're always going to go back to that, is showing, not just telling. Look at it as, you know, when the reader is looking over your cover letter, is they're thinking, oh my goodness, we were meant to be with each other. We were meant to work together. And that's kind of like a nice warm feeling that they have, is that they're reading this thinking, wow, like this candidate is really showcasing why they would be great. And then I thought this last thing was wonderful was a company said that they loved a cover letter that had heart. H is for heart, H is for humble. E is empathetic. A is adaptable. R is remarkable. And T is transparent. And so were they able to show all 5 of those things with heart through a cover letter? So that's the rundown for cover letters. Don't have them freak you out. Once you get the hang of it, then all of a sudden you are off and running. If you do have any other questions about them, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Your co-curricular word for today, I'm always so creative with these. We're going to have today's co-curricular word be cover letters. Please make sure you email that to careerdevelopment@flagler.edu, and we will be sure to get you co-curricular credit and put that up into Saints Connect. In 2 weeks from today is our virtual career expo. I've been having a lot of different conversations with students about these and how that's another intimidating thing because we rely so much on our ability to talk to people in person at the career expo, and now all of a sudden we're having to go to the virtual world. It's going to be a little bit different, but everything that you did at the Career Expo in person is just going virtually. So you will be able to take some time to set up one-on-one opportunities to talk with them. So for next week's Workshop Wednesday, we're going to be going over preparing for the virtual Career Expo, how to register for it, what you can expect, and then how you can build your schedule. As of this morning, and the numbers may have changed since I've last looked at it, but I think we were about 43, maybe 42 organizations, and that included companies, internship sites, graduate schools, and law schools. Since we weren't able to do our graduate and law school fair, we lumped them all into one big event for you. September 30th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You will be able to register for the event, and then that will show you how you can build your own schedule during those 4 hours to meet either one-on-one with certain companies or in virtual group sessions, kind of like this, where they're giving you information about it. Please don't look at it as an interview. And again, we'll cover a lot more tips next week on this, but look at it as you are going to find out information about their company. And so if it's one-on-one, what a fantastic opportunity to practice some of these skills to where when you're going for full-time positions later on, you're feeling really confident about this whole virtual world and how you can showcase yourself in a great way meeting with people. So look through Handshake. You'll be able to register now and see who's in there and start building your schedule. It's not something that you're committed to for those entire 4 hours, but you get to decide those days and times. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Please don't go screaming crazy about cover letters. I have to contain myself as well, but we can get through them. And as always, if we can help you out with them or with anything that has to do with this career development world, please let us know. Don't hesitate to reach out. As always, wishing you all health and safety during this time. Mask on up, please. I would greatly appreciate it so that we can keep having a health and safety environment. And I wish you all well. Talk soon.